Did you go for an audition? How did you become involved?
No, what actually happened was my agent rang me up and said, there's a gentleman in town called George Lucas who would very much like to see you. And so he was actually ensconced in the 20th Century Fox offices in Soho, and I went up to see him and meet up with him. And he took me into a room and showed me all these conceptual drawings, and then said, I'd like to offer you one of two parts in this movie I'm doing.
And why do you think you were chosen? What was your unique selling point?
I was just about to come to that.
Apart from your bone structure,
no, I said I was about to come to that. So he said, I'd like to offer you one of two parts in this movie. And I said, well, what are the two parts? And he said, well, the first one's a character called Chewbacca. And I said, what in the hell is Chewbacca? And he said, it's like a hairy gorilla that goes through the film on the side of the goodies, you see. And I thought, oh, God, no, 3 months in a gorilla skin. No, thank you very much. And I said, what's the other one? And he said, well, the other one's a character called Darth Vader, who's the big villain of the film, you see. And I said, well, don't say any more, George. I'll have the villain's part. And he said, well, tell me for why. And I said, if you think back on all the movies that you've ever seen where there are good guys and bad guys, I said, you always remember the bad guy, you see. And he said, Dave, he said, I think you've made a very wise decision because nobody will ever forget Darth Vader. And then I said to him, I said, well, how did you know of me? He said, well, I saw you in a film in 1971, Stanley Kubrick's Clockwork Orange. I played a character called Julian, who was a bodyguard to the writer in the film. And George remembered me for 5 years, from 71 to 76, and turned up at Elstree, and there we are.
And how many of the films, just for the people who don't know, how many films were you involved in?
I was in 4, 5, 6. They did 4, 5, 6, then went back and did 1, 2, 3, and now they're going to do 7, 8, 9.
Okay, so this is 4 decades ago that this happened.
Yeah, it was 1976.
And your memory,
yeah.
your memories. What was it like being inside that costume? It's looking pretty heavy to me. It must be pretty sweaty inside that.
No, it was quite comfortable actually. It was quite nice. Yeah, there was no. The only problem we had was everything. All my dialogue was coming through the mask and was not really any good from as far as reproduction was concerned. And I kept on saying to George, you know, what are we going to do about the voice? Because obviously everything sounds a bit muffled to the onlookers, as it were, or the people that we were filming with. And he said, oh, no, don't worry. He said, we'll go into the sound studios at the end of the shooting, and we'll re-record all your dialogue. I thought, well, this is okay. And anyway, they got to the end of the movie, chased back to America because they couldn't get all the special effects that they wanted in the UK. And then when they were in America, it was then too late for them to come to get me all the way over to America to overdub my lines. And they got James Earl Jones, who was a great choice. And we became very, very good friends.
How did you feel about that at the time? Because you discovered that, as I understand it, whilst watching the movie for the first time.
That's right. I went to see the premiere of Star Wars. I'm watching the film, and all of a sudden, this strange voice comes over. I thought, oh my goodness me, that's not me. I wonder what they've done. Then it wasn't until after the movie I tackled George, and he said, well, you know, we got James Earl Jones to come in and overdub the dialogue.